Oh no, a married mom falls hard for a cocky young tech dude, and their sinfully spicy romance will blow up your screen. It's so wild you'll feel guilty for loving it. Anyways, let's start the video. Our story starts with Sofie starting her new job as a manager at a book company. She meets the head of the company, Ronnie. A young tech guy named Max comes in late to a meeting, causing a stir. He makes a lot of noise while working, which bothers Sofie. She tells him to do his noisy work after hours so everyone else can focus. Sofie goes home and talks to her husband, Johan, about her first day. She feels the company needs to change and become more modern. To relax, she watches an exciting movie. Max continues to make noise, annoying Sofie. One evening, Sofie stays late at the office after everyone has left. She feels stressed and watches some private videos on her computer. Max secretly sees her and takes pictures of her without her knowing. The next day, Max approaches Sofie and tells her he knows what she does alone and has proof. Sofie tries to find out more about Max and discovers he doesn't have much money. She tries to use this to her advantage, offering him money to delete the photos from his phone. But Max turns the tables and asks her to have lunch with him instead. During their lunch, Max asks Sofie why she watches those kinds of movies. But their conversation is cut short when Sofie's friend joins them. Max tells Sofie he deleted the photos, but she still doesn't trust him. She takes his phone. Later, at the office, Friedrich and Denise confront Max about strange activity on their personal accounts, believing they've been hacked. Max explains he can fix it, but needs his phone, which Sofie still has. Sofie overhears this and realizes Max deliberately created the situation, knowing Friedrich and Denise would turn to him for help, forcing her to return his phone. Impressed by his cunning, she hands it back, acknowledging his clever plan. After this, Sofie goes to the bathroom, puts on some lipstick, and then gives it to Max. She tells him this color is very her and asks how she can get it back from him. Max is confused but keeps the lipstick. Max sends Sofie an envelope through the secretary. Inside, there's a note explaining a game. Whoever has the lipstick can make a demand, and the other person must do it without arguing. Sofie starts looking for someone to yell at, as Max instructed. She only finds the secretary, who is leaving the office without permission. However, the secretary reminds Sofie that she had asked to leave early, so Sofie can't yell at her. Sofie goes back to her office and watches Max, who seems happy. The next morning, Sofie is angry and bumps into a cyclist outside the building. They argue, but Max steps in when he hears Sofie's voice. He helps her pick up her scattered papers and gives her the lipstick back. This means it's now Sofie's turn to make a demand. That night, Sofie and her husband, Johan, go to a party. Sofie feels uncomfortable, especially when Johan talks badly about her in front of his friends. To relieve her stress, Sofie texts Max, asking him to cause chaos and make a lot of noise during the next day's meeting at the book company. The next day, the employees are surprised when the cleaning staff arrives before the meeting ends. Max had lied to the cleaning staff, telling them Sofie had invited them for coffee as a thank you. So, Max successfully carries out Sofie's request. Max meets Sofie in her office and takes her lipstick, signaling that it's now his turn to make a demand. That evening, Max texts Sofie, asking her to come to work early the next day dressed like a 90s pop singer. Sofie does what he asks, and everyone at work is shocked by her strange outfit, except for Max. Sofie thanks Max for doing his task and gives him the lipstick back, but then Max kisses her on the street, full of joy from his success. The next day, Sofie visits her daughter Isabella's school. Isabella's teacher tells Sofie that Isabella is very smart but also very shy and has different interests than other kids her age. The teacher asks Sofie to talk to her daughter about this. As the book fair gets closer, Sofie notices that her hotel room is right across from Max's. Since she still has the lipstick, it's her turn to make a demand. She leaves a note on Max's door, asking him to do something that will get everyone's attention at the book fair. Max responds by turning off all the lights at the event and then quickly leaving. He successfully completes Sofie's request. He reappears later at the fair, and Sofie tells him he did a great job. She goes to her room and waits for Max. She then hears a noise coming from his room and looks through the peephole. She sees him standing nervously outside her door. At a press conference the next day, Sofie and Max have lunch with the other people from the book company. Sofie sees Max talking to the secretary and feels jealous. She quietly tells him to make the lunch more exciting. Max isn't sure what to do. He notices the kitchen is empty and decides to put a drug in the desserts. Max warns Sofie not to eat the special candy before he carries out his plan. Everyone at the lunch eats the desserts quickly. During the press conference, two people, Friedrich, and Denise start arguing, and soon everyone else becomes unconscious from the drug, except for Sofie and Max. The next day, Sofie asks Max to go to the swimming pool with her. They have a good time together, then go back to the hotel and become intimate for the first time. After the book fair, everyone returns to the book company. Max doesn't see Sofie and finds out she has been working from home for 3 weeks. He feels very sad and tries to call her, but she doesn't answer. Max goes to Sofie's house and confronts her about ignoring him. Sofie admits that their relationship was wrong, but she feels weak when he is near her, and they start their relationship again. Suddenly, Johan, Sofie's husband, comes home and sees Max. Sofie quickly lies, saying Max came to fix the dishwasher. Max pretends to fix it, but gets angry and leaves, deciding he won't talk to Sofie again. The next day, Sofie goes to the book company and says sorry to Max. He forgives her. He invites her to his shared home, and they spend the day together. Max tells Sofie that his mother doesn't like him because she thinks he is a playboy. The next morning, Sofie goes back to work. The secretary notices how close Sofie and Max are becoming. She warns Max that Sofie could get into trouble for using her position to be with younger men. Max ignores her words and waits for a chance to talk to Sofie. Sofie offers him the lipstick if he visits his mother and spends her birthday with her. Max agrees. Back at home, Sofie bakes cookies for her daughter, Isabella, but Johan makes fun of her, as he often does. Sofie goes to the bathroom and cries alone. Meanwhile, Max visits his mother and younger brother. His brother asks if he is engaged, and Max says he is in a relationship with a beautiful woman, showing him Sofie's picture. Max's mother is shocked to see her son with an older married woman who has a child. At the same time, Johan surprises Sofie by saying he wants to move to London and wants her to quit her job. Sofie gets angry because he didn't ask her opinion. At the book company, Sofie tells Ronnie that she plans to move to London with her husband and daughter. Max overhears this and gets confused. He confronts Sofie in front of the other staff. They go outside to talk, and Sofie angrily tells Max that their relationship is crazy, not real love. She says she regrets ever meeting him and throws the lipstick away. Sofie tells Max that there is nothing left between them. Max is heartbroken and goes back to work, but then he suddenly collapses. He wakes up and starts crying. Sofie is also very sad and hopes for a miracle to bring her and Max back together. The next day, Johan suggests they go out with friends to make things less tense between them. As usual, Johan speaks badly about Sofie in front of his friends, even saying her father is crazy. This time, Sofie stands up to him, replying sharply in front of everyone. She then storms into the book company wearing only a bathrobe and interrupts a meeting. Because of Sofie's actions, a woman tears up her work contract. Sofie leaves the meeting and Max follows her. Max feels happy because he realizes Sofie didn't move to London. He knows she has fallen in love with him. She went against her husband, Johan, and against what society thinks is normal. She rejected old traditions that are against a relationship between an older woman and a young man who is still trying to find his way in life. That's the thrilling recap of all 8 episodes of Love and Anarchy, Season 1. Want us to cover Season 2? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll definitely consider it. Subscribe to Thrillix, your go-to channel for awesome recaps of movies and shows you're obsessed with. If you want to watch a love story of a student and teacher, click on the video coming up on the screen, and I'll see you there.